Yo, is this thing on? Check one, two. It is on. Okay. Well, shit. Let's see. Okay, so like, yo, okay, what up? What up? My bad. Listen. I'm lost in the sauce right now. You know what we here for? Okay. Listen, I usually mind my business, and I am minding my business, but it's it's important to keep up with what's going on in the world. Okay. As far as the Diddy situation, I do not want to give any opinions. I just want to come to you guys with the updates, right? So I'm not here to say how I feel about one side or the other because I feel like in general this is like a monumental case, monumental trial, right? This is going to go down in the history books if they allow it. But first, I gotta take off these damn clothes. Hold on. What is going on? What am I doing? Yo, hold on. Let's play some music. Let's play some music real quick before I do this because I'm over here like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, who's back? What up, my guy? All right. What up, Nux? What up? What up? What up, my guy? Yes, sir. You hear me, big dog? I hear you too, man. Yo. Let me give me like 1 second. All right, I'm gonna take this shit off real quick because it's a long story. I'll tell you when I come back. We out here. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. All right. Yeah. It's just a little fish. Shout out to Fish Out of Water Clothing, man. You know what I mean? I had to switch up because, you know what I'm saying? Fish Out of Water is the official sponsor of the R Rhymes TV here. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yo, let's get back to it. Okay, guys, like I said, we're here to talk about the Sean Diddy Combs trial. I need my glasses. I think I look cool in these glasses. All right, guys. Which way? This way? Okay. I'm good. So today we're gonna talk about the Diddy case. Okay. So as you guys know, Sean Diddy Combs is on trial for numerous charges: RICO, sex trafficking, um, and a few more charges. Okay. So today, like I said, man, I'm not here to give my opinion, right? I'm not here to say I'm on whose side or one side or the other. I just think that this is, a case that's probably going down in history if they allow it. And I think, I'm just gonna give you guys an update or let you hear what people are saying, without giving my opinion. So this is Law and Crime. I'm not sure what side Law and Crime is on. I hope they're just reporting the facts. So let's check this out. Let's see.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming out really quickly to talk about this. So first, I want you to set the stage. The whole scene out there. You had almost trouble getting into the courthouse today. Talk to us about what you're seeing.
Oh yeah, I crashed out a little bit this morning, Jesse,
Oh,
thinking I was not about it to get inside
she
that
said she crashed out. Okay, all right, she crashed out. We know she's from the hood. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep stopping it, but let's go.
courtroom just because of just how crazy it is. I mean, you can just see the lines just going all the way back with media. It's going all the way back just with the public, just so some people could either, one, watch the trial, get a glimpse of Diddy's family members coming in and outside of the courtroom, and even as well as see as his attorneys whose
All
members
right, all
include
right.
Brian Steele, Mark Agnifilo, Mark, everybody else
Okay,
in line for up to $500, $600.
okay.
Earlier today, you
Okay, let's
actually
get into like
Excuse
some.
me, can I
Oh, not the Addy. Not the Addy. Ah, come on, man. Look, listen. I know. I should have better YouTube. So, yo, YouTube, hook me up because if we're gonna be doing this, I can't be doing the ads.
Rodney Lil Rod Jones, one of the first people to sue Sean Combs. He was outside the courthouse. We were always expecting who would end up being who would end
Y'all
up
remember? Y'all remember him?
trial. Talk
It's
to
a
us about the
bodyguard, right?
jury. Who is this jury?
Oh.
What can you tell about how they're reacting so far to
So, from what I understand, they selected the jury today. The final selection was this morning, and then they got right to work, which is crazy. Like getting selected and then going right to work. Like it don't even happen like that when you're in a job interview, right? They'd be like, "All right, I'll see you on Monday." Nah, not for the trial. Like, yeah, you come right now. Figure this man's life in your hands.
statements. I mean,
I
NBC has
digress.
reported you have one juror who's a 69-year-old male, another juror who's a 31-year-old male, another one 51-year-old male. You have a 42-year-old female, and they have different numbers to them. But what are you determining based on the jury? What's the makeup, and how are they positioning? How are they reacting?
I wonder what race they are too. Like I don't know if that like matters to people, but I think it might matter to the lawyers. You know, trying to do something like that, trying to pick the right person. If that makes sense to y'all.
The opening statement so far.
Yeah, well, kind of a hard question to answer, I should say, just because of where I was sitting inside the gallery. It was really hard to kind of see each and every single one of their faces when both sides were presenting opening statements. But what I did see from being inside that gallery was some people jotting notes, some people just very much intently listening to both Emily Johnson for the prosecution as well as Steve Garrett for the defense. But as far as the makeup goes,
I think that's
kind of
probably the
just,
best one I've
the
seen.
jury numbers and
This
comparing
artist
the
is
notes
wild.
that I took last week when I was here for jury selection. You have one who's a scientist, one whose brother is a security guard.
Okay.
Diddy was arrested, but
We're gonna skip that. We're gonna skip that.
We, as we're looking into this, we're counting up how many men there are. I believe there's 8 men, 4 women on
Okay.
this jury, all different ages. None of them younger than 30 years old. Take that for what it is. A little bit of older individuals as well. But I.
Is that a strategy? They want to pick younger people.
4 women on this jury.
Hold on.
Elizabeth, you know, we counted up right now. I believe we, as we're looking into this, we're counting up how many men there are. I believe there's 8 men, 4 women on this jury, all different ages. None of them younger than 30 years old. Take that for what it is. A little bit of older individuals as well.
Okay, so everyone's above 30 is what they're saying. My bad, I wasn't listening right. So 30 and up club. Ouch.
But I think it's really interesting when you talk about what we saw today with openings.
And 8 men, so mostly men, 4 women.
Statements, right? And by the way, just to reiterate something that you mentioned before, the first argument we heard from the defense today was saying that the prosecution, they raised what's called a Batson challenge to their preemptory challenges, saying you're striking jurors based on race, which is improper. The judge didn't side with it. They got a jury selected. Talk about opening statements. I want to start with the prosecution.
Yes, this is what we want to get to.
What was the main
What
theme
was
today,
the
and
theme
did
of
you
the
learn
opening
something
statements?
new? And Elizabeth, you're going to have to talk a little bit louder because that guy behind you is incredibly loud.
Yeah. Let's get to it. This is really what I want to hear. I want to hear the opening statements. Let's go.
So what was the theme of Emily Johnson's opening statement, and did you learn anything new? Anybody that might testify?
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously we've been following this case from the beginning, from the time that Cassie had first dropped her civil lawsuits against Diddy, and so a lot of the
Okay.
stuff that we were listening to from Emily Johnson was expected, right? She starts off with saying, "This is Sean Combs. He's a cultural icon, a businessman. He's larger than life." But then she went and kind of talked about the defendant's crimes, the defendant being Diddy, that went past 20 years.
20
Kidnapping,
years of
allegations of
crimes.
rape,
Okay.
allegations of drug trafficking, sex crimes, obstruction. They were talking about one specific night where
He
the
got a
defendant
rap
was on
sheet?
the hunt for girlfriend Cassie.
Wait.
So I was pretty surprised that
No.
they just went out of the gates and already had just named her. I was assuming when she were going to be taking the stand, that's when the jurors would know her name, and that's when she would be introduced as alleged victim number one. But the government came out and just automatically just named her.
Okay.
They talked about the incident where
Is that-
Diddy found out Cassie was seeing another man, and
Is that all they got?
and his bodyguard, and Diddy threatened to allegedly kill this man that Cassie was with.
Is it all about
Emily
Cassie?
Talked about how he had beat Cassie so brutally that he
Oh,
also
man.
take control of her. He kept videos of Cassie sleeping with escorts and threatened to use them against her. These are the types of things we had already known and were already.
Yeah, I'm going live on Twitch too, y'all.
Indictments that the government had written up and that type of sort. Diddy referring himself as a king, which is kind of ironic because he has a giant king crown on the back of his neck. Emily Johnson spoke about the defendant using his inner circle to manipulate women that
Oh, wow.
for a while he watched how his bodyguards kind of played, or bodyguards as well as him.
When I was in high school,
Not the Addy. Come on, man. Yeah, listen. If y'all want to hook me up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If y'all want to hook me up, cash out the Hard Rhymes Entertainment, and I'll get YouTube Premium. But until then, we just gonna have to mute it when it comes on. I feel y'all can. I'll entertain y'all in between the ads, though. All right, let's go. What she talking about?
Conspiracy as well too, and she made it a point to say this case is not
Okay,
about a
we back.
celebrity's private sex preferences, because that was something that the defense definitely kind of chalked it up to being just that he lived an alternative lifestyle, that type of sort, and we'll talk about that more in a second. While there has been a lot of reports about victim 3 and where her whereabouts are or anything like that, the defense didn't talk about alleged victim number 3. Instead, they kept it pretty short and to the point. They talked about Cassie, they talked about Jane, who we presume to be the other alleged victim.
So these are the opening statements if y'all just tuning in.
Was talking about the freak offs being also named Wild King Night, something that we had also known about, as well as even just simply as hotel nights as well too. Allegations of flying escorts across state lines, out of the country, into the country, that type of thing.
Okay.
Diddy had demands for the staff to set up his rooms in advance, lighting,
And
lube,
if you don't know what she's talking about, she's reading the opening statements of the prosecution. So this is the people trying to lock him up. This is what they're saying. This is the opening statements of them. So I'll just go back a little bit so y'all can get, back in line of what they're saying.
Government was talking about, the freak offs being also named Wild King Night, something that we had also known about, as well as even just simply as hotel nights as well too. Allegations of flying escorts across state lines, out of the country, into the country, that type of thing.
Okay.
That Diddy had demands for the staff to set up his rooms in advance, lighting, lube, cash for escorts, drugs for both Diddy and the women
Cash,
that were
drugs.
participating in these types of events.
Sounds bad.
Women had to dress in lingerie, had to wear white nails, tall heels, something that Cassie had pointed out in her civil lawsuit that was later settled. Talking about the drug use. Then they went into kind of, the allegations specifically geared towards Cassie and just how, the defendant had met Cassie. They had a 17-year age difference. Cassie was initially given a 10-album deal, and obviously that never happened as far as putting out a whole bunch of different albums and that type of sort. And so these were types of things that we had already known about. I think some of the more interesting points also go to Jane, as far as the other alleged victim. She was a single mom.
This is
Diddy around
this
20
is the Jane Doe. This is another witness.
20 when Diddy was single, when Jane was single, but Diddy was seeing other people. Diddy introduced Jane to the freak-offs, and she had tried one just to kind of make him happy, and then just kind of kept going into this repetitive cycle of doing these freak-offs, wild hotel nights.
Okay, so general question. Um, I heard the illegal activity, I guess, and this is when they're transporting the sex workers straight lines. And so is that literally what he's on? That's part of it. That's part of it, right? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm listening, right, guys?
That type of sort, just to kind of appease him. That
Yeah, I mean, because I'm looking at here like I'm looking for like the crimes. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously he's in jail. He's facing what they say could be up to his life. So I'm listening for like the crimes, like the real bad crimes.
Jane didn't want to do these freak offs, and that she had tried at even one point to, hire men on her own that worked in the porn industry so she could pick the men. Diddy made her, these escorts not wear condoms when they, allegedly participated in these types of activities. So these were just kind of the big things that were pointed out as far as the government. And Jesse, do you want me to go into the defense?
Well,
Yes, go to the
pretty
defense.
interesting as well too.
I want to see that. Yes, let's go.
Before you go into the defense,
Okay.
As I was reading about the reporting today, it was the first confirmation that Cassandra Ventura is victim one in this case. We always guessed it.
Right.
We always
We
surmised
knew
it.
it. Everybody
Now we
knew
have a
that.
definitive answer. And by the way, I think it was either the prosecution or the defense who mentioned that she's going to
Yeah.
probably testify this week as we want.
I think everyone knows that. But this week, like it could be like tomorrow, the next day. Like it's like she's about to testify.
First witnesses are going to be. And also this reference to Mia, who is Sean Combs' personal assistant, that is maybe going to provide some important testimony in this case. Now, before we go to the defense, real quick, as though you're looking at
What?
all these people that are behind you right now, Elizabeth, are these all reporters? Are these all fans? Are these all people who are supporting Sean Combs?
Come on, let's go
or
to the-
not supporting Sean Combs?
Yeah, so obviously I was trying not to pay attention so much because it's really so many people, but it's really just kind of a common mix. It's a lot of people who are here with the media. You have field producers, you have social media producers, and pretty
Okay.
much every outlet across one
All
guy
right.
just kind of yelling,
Right,
and he had
right.
been kind of saying some pretty vile things to us as reporters. So, we're trying too much not to pay attention to him as much as possible. As far as the family goes, right before we did this hit, we saw the family kind of get into a Sprinter van and kind of drive off, maybe to get something to eat, maybe to
Right.
decompress. Because, think about it, Jesse, his children were inside that courtroom,
Yeah.
especially his daughters were inside that courtroom, hearing about their father, booking escorts and allegedly beating women and that type of sort. So maybe it was just the time
Right.
that all the family members just had to get out of here, get away
Yeah.
from this media service.
Right.
But for the most part, it's a good mix
Okay.
of both media and just the general public who are just genuinely.
Real quick, if you could summarize the defense's opening statement, some 15 minutes. Real quick.
All right, real quick. Real quick, before she does her real quick summarizing, I just feel like it seems like he's rushing her to do the defense real quick, right? I don't know. I just want it to be fair because she took her time and explained the prosecution part. I just feel like he's rushing her, so maybe this is not the right one to watch, but I will definitely watch it.
If you could summarize the defense's opening statement, some highlights there.
Yeah, the defense's opening statements were pretty, we were kind of expecting them. They were going to have
Okay.
to admit that Diddy had been physically violent towards women in the past. They were going to have to admit that
You said women in the past, so he wasn't just saying Cassie. Okay.
Diddy had this type of temper that, he participated in taking these types of drugs, and that his temper was especially bad whenever.
I wonder if
Not that Addie. Not right now, Addie. Come on, let's go. Okay. So after this Addie plays, we're gonna get right back into it. Skip. Let's go.
There was a point in the openings where Diddy stood up when Tenny Garagos was introducing him to the jury. For the most part, even throughout opening statements, he kind of sat there calmly. He looked at the jurors. He looked at Tenny Garagos, who again provided the opening statements on the defense's behalf. The defense was kind of harping on the fact that the government has no place in his bedroom, something that we had talked about many of times, just how they're kind of painting this as somebody, who did bad things on one hand, but we're were these bad things criminal? And that was essentially what the defense's argument was there. They said that the defense will see domestic violence in this trial,
Okay.
but while they do take it seriously, they say it's not sex trafficking. So I feel like they're trying to divide this line between this being a domestic violence spat or domestic violence toxic relationship type of thing, as opposed to these being actual criminal acts that Diddy was allegedly committing and that type of thing. The defense was saying that these alleged victims were strong, capable women, that they made choices that were for adults, they were free of choice, and they came with both pros and cons, and that type of thing. And then they were kind of talking a lot about how Diddy was jealous and how, other partners,
This is the defense?
his other relationship partners. So, for example, Cassie. They also mentioned Gina, somebody I had talked about in some stories I had
Wait.
done. She had talked about how Diddy was physically violent with her in a
Wait,
podcast
wait.
episode, for example.
Wait,
And
wait,
so,
wait, 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 wait. This is the defense?
kind of her mention there beyond, what the government was talking about as far as, alleged victims in this case and that type of sort. They had mentioned Kim Porter and how Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter's relationship with Diddy and that type of thing. And then everything kind of ended as soon as Kim Porter had passed away. Cassie went to her memorial service, and that was the last time she had seen Diddy, even prior to her expectation that she'll be inside that courtroom testifying. These jurors are going to see some of these freak-off videos, but they say that it was taken from Cassie's devices, not Diddy's device. And so, they talked about Mia, for example, who had worked with Diddy for a number of years, and the defense says, they want jurors to evaluate her motive to testify. When they were talking about Jane Doe, it was the same thing, that this was a jealous relationship. Jane wanted to be more public, whereas Diddy, he flaunted other relationships that weren't with Jane and that type of thing. So those were some of the biggest takeaways from the defense's openings, as well as the government's openings as well, too.
These are the arguments we anticipated. Now,
So they anticipated this. So they're saying, yeah, he's not a great guy, but he's just an eccentric freak. They're saying. Oh man, I don't know about the defense, man. I don't know about the defense, man. I mean, I feel like it should be a little stronger. I'm not here to give my opinion.
obviously, there's a lot more detail to it. We're hearing it in an official capacity.
I mean, but the truth is the truth, right? I mean, hey, if that's a defense, that's the truth. I mean, the truth is the truth. So.
And these jurors, while they might have heard certain aspects of this case, this is the first
Shall
time,
it?
presumably, both arguments are being positioned to them for the first time in such a very particular way. And this is opening statements. It's not evidence, but it is the start, the official start of Sean Combs' criminal trial. Elizabeth Milner, thank you so much for reporting. Go back into that courthouse. Stay safe out there.
Yo, shout out to Shorty though, cause I like how she opened up her monologue where I was had to crash out this morning, so I already know she one of us. You know what I'm saying? Oh man! So also in the news, so I was watching this at work. Well, no, I had it in my ear. I was like, the podcasts were talking about it, giving like frequent updates about this Diddy trial. And then the guy I was getting the updates from, he was just like, oh my God, this is devastating. And I'm like, what happened? What happened? And I'm over here like on 10 toes, like waiting for him to like say what happened. I thought it was about the trial, but no. It was about my man Tory Lanez. And like I like Tory Lanez as an artist, and I know what he's going through, and I know why he's going through it. So you know what I'm saying. But Tory Lanez got poked up in jail, man. So I'm gonna go to that news real quick. Let me see if I can find something on that. All right, so this is the first story I see on it. I'll just click on it. Not the Addy. Not the Addy Ante. Not the Addy. Alright, so wait. Why would they? You see it. Tory Lanez died in prison and hospitalized report. But you see what they played first? Wow.
still anxious. I'm still having nightmares. I'm still.
What the hell? Wait, I thought this was just news. This is, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Thank you very much. I see what y'all on. I'm sorry. I just want to hear the news about him in the hospital. I don't need to see it. Yeah.
The rapper serving time for shooting Megan Thee Stallion is in stable condition tonight after allegedly being stabbed by another inmate in the prison yard in California. Sources say Tory Lanez was rushed to the hospital. He's expected to be okay.
Shit.
He's serving that 10-year sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion as they left an
10.
LA party back in July 2020. Priya Sridhar is joining us now. I mean, people know Tory Lanez. What happened here?
Hey, Holly, that's right. Well, we don't have a lot of information about this just yet, but what we do know from the spokesperson for that California Correctional Institute is that this attack occurred at around 7:20 this morning. They didn't give further information about exactly how
early.
stabbed or what the potential motivation could be or where he was stabbed, but they did say that staff immediately rendered medical aid. He was transported to a local hospital, and he is suffering from non-life-threatening injuries. However,
all right, non-life-threatening injuries is good, but however, he got to go back there too, though.
Several other media outlets, including the Los Angeles Times, are reporting that this was another inmate who used a shank to stab him.
Leave it in the comments. What y'all think? Nah, hold on. Go back.
Several times. Now, just to jog your memory about what he was exactly doing in jail in the first place, as you mentioned, he is serving a 10-year sentence. He was convicted back in December of 2022 on 3 different felony charges: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Now, this all stems from an incident.
Damn, he got some charges. What are the charges? Yo, he got some charges on him.
Now, just to jog your memory about what he was exactly doing back in December of 2022 on 3 different felony charges: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Now, this all
they just wrapped everything all in one bundle. Like, take all that. And he was telling you guys how innocent he was, but I mean, you know, the facts prove that I guess he wasn't. I don't want to comment on Tory's case either. Like I said, I'm not here to give you guys my opinion, man. I just know what I know, and I'm just here to give you guys the updates. Facts.
all stems from an
We listen, but we don't judge.
Incident back in July of 2020 when Megan Thee Stallion actually testified at the trial that he, after they were departing a party at Kylie Jenner's house, they were walking towards an SUV that they should have been riding back together in when he apparently shot at her feet and told her to dance in the driveway. Now, since then, the rapper has attempted.
So everybody laughs at that because we all remember Harlem Nights. You know what I'm saying? Or like those cartoons like dance, 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 dance. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, it's funny that they say that. If it really happened, obviously it's not funny. I wasn't there. She said allegedly, and I allegedly think it's funny.
Dance in the driveway. Now, since then, her feet back together in when he apparently shot her feet and
apparently, see, like, it's not even proven.
Told her to dance in the driveway. Now, since then, the rapper has attempted to appeal for another trial. He has been successful in those.
Listen, I feel like I said, I have no, I'm not on one side or the other when I play these updates. This is just an update, but, you know, I know he is in there for what he did, but it would be really bad if he lost his life in jail. You know what I'm saying? That would have been really bad. That would have been like, come on, man, see? You know what I'm saying? Especially if, you know, somewhere down the future, you know, they found out that, you know, they found some evidence or something, you know. He wasn't, Da da da. You know how things are. Like it's just the future. Anyway, like I said, we listen, but we don't judge. Um,
those attempts, but
that's
actually
right.
earlier this year, Hallie, Megan the Stallion said that he was using surrogates to harass her from jail, and a judge actually issued a protective order for her until the year 2030. Hallie?
What year is it? 2025. 5-year protection order, but he's gonna be in jail for 10 years, so he'll still be.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Thanks for watching. Man, that's crazy. Well, I'm happy he's okay. Oh, Ack. Yo, Ack is one of my favorite like streamers, man. Not the Addy. Yo, I am an Ack fan. If y'all don't know that, I'll just say it right now. If y'all don't like Ack, I mean, I hope. You know what I mean? I hope. I'm not offending anyone when I say, I'm an Act fan. I just like how he reports.
Let's deviate from that case for 1 second and handle this, just because it's important. I'm not going to do this much often because I want to really lock in on his Diddy case. But apparently, Tory has been stabbed in jail. He said this isn't how Tory wanted to get out of prison, but he is. After suffering a prison yard stabbing so bad he needs hospital treatment, he was apparently on the yard in a California correctional institution at Tehachapi on Monday, when another inmate stabbed him, according to sources, including one law enforcement. It's unclear what the motivation of the attack was, but one source tells us that Tory was rushed by an ambulance to a nearby civilian hospital. Just by last week, Tory posted a picture of himself looking pretty buff behind bars and bragging his next album will be dropping soon.
Yo, see, sometimes I'm a little slow processing. You think somebody didn't like that he dropped the album and did what he did and try to like, we listen but we don't judge. Like I'm a thinker and I'm a conspiracy theorist, so let's just say that. But like, yo, imagine if that was like some other stuff happening right there. Like somebody tried to get at him for what he did type. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Let me see if I can find the picture. Sorry.
That's crazy. Yo, you type mad fast. You gotta teach me how to type, bro. They say I type like a 5th grader. Stop playing.
You're looking a little bit big right here. Pause, right?
Oh, yeah. He look a little buff right there.
Yeah, okay. So it says the artist serving a 10-year sentence at a California state prison for the 2020 stabbing of Meg Thee Stallion. Oh, not stabbing, shooting, I'm sorry. Of Meg Thee Stallion. Tory and Meg are battling each other in court.
Shit.
They're still battling each other in court. She's accusing him of enlisting various bloggers to continue to...
Yeah, to continue to cyber bully her.
And we're told that Tory's stabbing injury is non-life threatening.
I wonder if he's gonna touch on if it's like related. I don't know. Let's see what he does. Let's see what Act talks about. Let's go, Act. Let's go. Give it.
Hit Tory's people to see if I can get an update. I don't like putting
the opinion. I don't know if that was weird. Please don't pause me. Pause myself. I pause myself. Give it. That's why I stopped. I was like, give it. I was like, yeah, give it an update. But you know what I'm saying? You're right. You're right. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna just listen.
People. I don't like putting people like on the spot like this because I could call him. But
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
I want to see or how he always seems happy when I speak to him.
I just want to
very maybe he was stabbed civilian or outside of jail. I don't want to speak some of these things into existence, but if they have a medical facility and a ward at most prisons, usually they could treat abrasions, certain lacerations. This seems like it might be serious. However, we're getting
okay.
Non-life threatening. Okay.
Not life threatening, but serious.
As soon as I get an update, if I get an update this stream, I will let you guys know.
All right. Good luck, Act. I can always trust you to give me some news, my guy. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Yo, this is the stream right here, man. We out of here, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. I appreciate y'all. I just took y'all through the Diddy updates and the Tory Lanez updates. I think that was definitely updating. We listen, but we don't judge. You know what I'm saying? And for the record, I feel like 10 guys can still take down a gorilla. 10 big guys, though. You know what I'm saying? With a plan. No weapons is cool, but you gotta be like in a jungle where you can make something. Oh wait, no, I can't do that. Oh shit, this is gonna be fucked up. All right, I'm out.